Well, hello there. Let's talk about Côte d'Ivoire, a place that on May 22nd, 2025, suddenly found itself starring in its very own, entirely unsolicited, action movie, a rumored military coup. Yes, you heard that right. Whispers started swirling, faster than a politician, backtracking on a promise, that the government was being overthrown. Imagine waking up, scrolling through your phone, and seeing OMG coup trending for your country. It's the kind of news that really makes you spill your morning coffee. Or if you're in Côte d'Ivoire, perhaps your café au lait. The anxiety was palpable, spreading through the population like a particularly nasty strain of the flu, as people tried to figure out if their world was genuinely turning upside down, or if someone was just having a laugh. Spoiler alert, it was mostly the latter, but not before causing a proper stir. These weren't just quiet murmurs in a back alley. Oh, no. This was a full-blown digital wildfire. The rumors blazed across social media platforms, with each share and retweet adding another log to the fire of misinformation. People were understandably on edge. When you hear words like military takeover, president missing, or army chief assassinated, your calm, rational brain tends to take a brief vacation, leaving your panic-prone brain to run the show. And run the show it did, with many Ivorians and international observers glued to their screens, desperately trying to piece together what was, or rather what wasn't, actually happening. It was a masterclass in how quickly unverified information can create widespread fear, a digital stampede, if you will. The specifics of the fake news were, frankly, quite dramatic. Reports claimed that the Army Chief of Staff, Lassina Doumbia, had been assassinated. A rather bold claim, considering he was, alive. Then there were the stories about President Alassane Ouattara himself. Depending on which post you read, he was either missing, harmed, or possibly even killed. It's like a game of Where's Waldo. But with significantly higher stakes and far less amusement. These weren't just vague assertions. They were presented with a veneer of urgency and in some cases accompanied by completely unrelated videos of chaos, falsely labeled as scenes from Abidjan, the economic capital. It's the digital equivalent of shouting fire in a crowded theater, except the theater is an entire nation. Thankfully, the Ivorian government wasn't about to let these rumors fester for too long. President Ouattara, far from being missing or harmed, was reported to be chairing a council of ministers meeting right on May 22nd. Talk about a swift rebuttal. He then attended a public ceremony the very next day, effectively saying, "Rumors of my demise have been greatly exaggerated. And also, here's a picture of me at work, just in case you needed more proof." Official bodies quickly stepped in to debunk the claims, trying to pour water on the digital flames. It was a classic case of truth having to put its boots on, while a lie had already sprinted halfway around the world. But at least the boots were getting laced up pretty quickly this time. The primary engine for this chaos, as is so often the case these days, was social media. Platforms like Facebook, X, formerly Twitter because of course, and TikTok became unwitting, or perhaps wittingly designed for virality, conduits for these alarming narratives. Fake stories and videos proliferated, some depicting burning buildings and agitated crowds, all meticulously misattributed to Abidjan. It's a stark reminder that seeing isn't always believing, especially when the seeing is done through the distorted lens of an unverified social media feed. Facebook metrics, for instance, showed around 9,700 users actively discussing the alleged coup, which might not sound like a stadium filler, but for spreading panic, it's more than enough to get the ball rolling downhill fast. Stepping into this digital mess was Côte d'Ivoire's National Agency for Information System Security, or ANSSE. Think of them as the digital firefighters. And they promptly declared the whole episode a coordinated disinformation campaign. This wasn't just random internet noise, they suggested, but a deliberate attempt to sow confusion and instability. It's a serious accusation, pointing towards a more organized effort than just a few bored individuals stirring the pot. The goal, presumably, was to create a perception of chaos, which, in a region with a history of actual coups, can be incredibly damaging. It's like someone repeatedly poking a sleeping bear with a stick labeled disinformation. Eventually, it's going to react, or at least everyone around it will get very nervous. One particularly curious detail that emerged was the language of these posts. Despite French being the official language of Côte d'Ivoire, a significant majority of the social media posts fanning the coup flames were in English. Now that's a bit like finding a detailed critique of a Yorkshire pudding recipe, written exclusively in Swahili. Not impossible, but it certainly raises an eyebrow. This linguistic anomaly has led some observers to speculate about the origins of the disinformation campaign, suggesting it might have been orchestrated or amplified by actors outside the country, perhaps aiming to destabilize the nation or the wider West African region for their own purposes. It adds another layer of intrigue to an already murky situation, doesn't it? In response to this digital onslaught, journalists on the ground in Côte d'Ivoire, such as Christelle Kwame, played a crucial role in providing clarity, confirming the country's stability. They were the boots-on-the-ground reality check against the online phantoms. The Ivorian presidency didn't just issue statements. They released pictures of President Ouattara at the cabinet meeting, essentially flooding the zone with verifiable proof of normalcy. Even an anonymous source from the ECOWAS parliament in Abuja chimed in, dismissing the coup rumors as fake news. It was a multi-pronged effort to reassure both the Ivorian people and the international community that the sky was, in fact, not falling, despite what your news feed might have screamed at you. So why would anyone bother to start or spread such disruptive rumors? Well, as is often the case, it helps to look at the political calendar. Côte d'Ivoire is gearing up for general elections in October 2025, and the atmosphere is, shall we say, a tad charged. Election periods often bring underlying tensions to the surface, and these coup rumors landed right in the middle of this pre-election sensitivity. It's like throwing a lit match into a room filled with electoral dry tinder. Even if the match fizzles out, it makes everyone jumpy. The timing suggests that whoever was behind the disinformation might have been trying to exploit these existing anxieties, or perhaps test the waters for future disruption. Adding to this politically charged environment is the recent saga involving opposition politician Tijane Thiam. Mr. Thiam, a prominent figure and president of the PDCI party, was recently barred from running for office. The reason? A technicality concerning his citizenship status. He had acquired French nationality in 1987, and despite renouncing it in February 2025, a court ruled him ineligible because he hadn't renounced it registering as a voter back in 2022. Thiam is appealing, claiming the ruling is politically motivated, which in the world of politics is hardly a shocking allegation. This barring of a key opposition figure naturally fuels discontent and suspicion, creating fertile ground for rumors that prey on political instability. Then there's the rather large, Ouattara-shaped elephant in the room, the potential for President Alassane Ouattara to run for a fourth term. A constitutional amendment in 2016 controversially reset his term limits, allowing him to run in 2020, and you guessed it, potentially again in 2025. The ruling RHDP party has already nominated him, though Ouattara himself hasn't officially confirmed his candidacy. While he's credited with overseeing significant economic growth, the country has seen an average of over 6% annual growth recently. The prospect of him extending his rule is a major point of contention and a source of considerable political tension. Critics see it as a potential consolidation of power that sidesteps democratic norms, a common theme that unfortunately resonates in many parts of the world. And let's not forget, Côte d'Ivoire has a history that makes these kinds of rumors particularly potent. The country isn't a stranger to political instability and election-related violence. The most notable example is the 2010 conflict, which erupted after a disputed election when former President Laurent Gbagbo refused to concede defeat to Ouattara. That crisis led to a brief but brutal civil war, resulting in over 3,000 deaths. Gbagbo himself was eventually captured, tried by the ICC, and acquitted. The memories of this period are still fresh, and any hint of political upheaval, even a rumored one, can trigger deep-seated fears of a return to those darker days, making the nation understandably sensitive to such disturbances. Despite the flurry of alarming social media posts and the genuine anxiety they cause, official channels were quick to pour cold water on the coup narrative. Journalists on the ground confirmed that Abidjan remained calm. The Ivorian presidency provided photographic evidence of President Ouattara going about his business. An anonymous source from the ECOWAS Parliament, the regional political bloc, even weighed in from Abuja, labeling the entire affair as fake news. So the official line was and remains that Côte d'Ivoire is stable. The government successfully projected an image of control, ensuring that the digital disruption didn't spill over into widespread physical unrest related to the coup themselves, which is a small mercy. However, it's worth noting that leadership newspapers reported over 33 deaths between May 19th and 20th amidst a media blackout and unrest, though the direct link to these specific coup rumors wasn't explicitly confirmed by major international news outlets. While security forces and government authorities reported no violence, and Abidjan residents denied claims of associated chaos, these other unconfirmed reports of earlier casualties paint a picture of underlying tensions. It's a reminder that even if a specific rumor is false, it can tap into genuine existing grievances or anxieties within a society, making the situation more complex than a simple all clear might suggest. The timing of this little episode of is it a coup or isn't it was also particularly awkward for Côte d'Ivoire on the international stage. The country was, and is, set to host the African Development Bank's IFDB annual meetings in the week immediately following May 22nd. This is a significant event where a new president will be elected to succeed Akinwumi Adesina. You can imagine the frantic calls. Are we still good for the FDB meeting? Or is the presidential palace currently being stormed by rogue llamas? Okay, maybe not llamas, but unfounded coup rumors are hardly the welcome mat you want to roll out for international dignitaries and investors. It underscores how disinformation can have real-world diplomatic and economic reverberations. Finally, this whole affair doesn't happen in a vacuum. West Africa has, unfortunately, become a bit of a hotspot for coup rumors, and more alarmingly, actual military takeovers in recent years. Countries like Mali, Burkina Faso, Niger, and Guinea have all seen their governments unceremoniously booted out by the military, leading to significant regional instability and their withdrawal from ECOWAS. So when coup rumors surface in a neighboring country like Côte d'Ivoire, even if quickly debunked, they land with a heavier thud. With the October 2025 elections on the horizon and all the attendant political maneuvering, it's safe to say that while this particular storm has passed, many will be watching Côte d'Ivoire very closely indeed. So, stability confirmed. For now, pass the popcorn.